What is up, everyone? DJ Anubis here with you on the Metal Tavern Radio podcast with another episode of the Kaiju Spotlight. Here with my good friend and special guest, Gojira851. Thank you for being here, sir, for another episode of this. We're doing Gyaos today, or Gyaos, however you want to pronounce it. Gyaos is a winged kaiju who first appeared in the 1967 Gamera film Gamera vs. Gyaos, and has ever since kind of left a mark on me in terms of the Gamera franchise, because seeing it when I was younger, and this is something about, I don't know about you, but with me, when it comes to Gamera's foes, they seem to be a lot more darker or evil-minded and like creepier. Even though you can see some of other Godzilla's foes be a bit creepy, it seems like the way that Daiei kind of portrayed their villains for Gamera just to be very evil looking, and Gyaos was certainly one of those that scared the shit out of me as a kid. What was your first impression when you first saw Gyaos as a kaiju?
My first impression, a bit more disturbing because, I was more accustomed to the Godzilla franchise, and as cool as they are, they're more fun, I would say. You know, you've got your Ghidorah, but he's golden. He has three heads, plus he has more like a fun sound, and the bitty, 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 sound to him as well. You have Gigan, he's got, the saw cutting people's heads open and everything, but, he's green and has like the flakes on him. He's got the cycloptic eye, it's fun. Then you got Hedra, which is like a big pile of pollution. It's like, okay, all right, that's okay, but they're a little more fun. Where the Gamera monsters, they're a little more disturbing, a little more monstrous. So you have Gyaos, which this is the 1995 iteration of him, my favorite iteration from Guardian of the Universe, and which we'll talk about that later. Thankfully, I was shown these movies actually in order. Order-ish. Now, I actually watched the Showa films, then I watched the Heisei films. Yes, I actually watched these films in order, and I actually saw this film on Laserdisc over at a buddy's house when I first moved here to Florida, and I first watched it. I'm like, this thing's eating people. This thing's like legit, like murking people like left and right, and like they're not afraid. Like now in the first film, Gojira, there's like nuclear stuff like that. People dying, like stuff. Like no, this thing's like eating people. They're talking about blood and everything. And it's like they're really going there with this. And it's like I really enjoyed Gyaos, which people would say Gyaos is the Ghidorah of the Gamera franchise as well. And I'd have to say that, at least for the Showa era. Maybe people would say something different for the Heisei era, but Gyaos, awesome creature. Kaiju.
Yeah, I agree. I think whenever I think of Gamera, whenever we think about his ultimate foe, even though he's had a lot of great ones over his franchise, I keep coming back to Gyaos because like he just does seem to be like a real thorn in Gamera's side, and because he can be like in flocks, like they can multiply a lot, it can be a very problematic type of creature for Gamera to deal with. And like you, it's funny because I did see the earlier movies not in order back when I was younger, so not really knowing if there was an order or not. But when it came to the Heisei stuff, much like the Godzilla stuff of the 90s, that stuff like somehow avoided me because I was either busy in my own life or whatever, just never realized they were keeping up with the films at that point. The last one, even before the 90s took off, was when I watched Godzilla versus Biollante. So, catching up with the Godzilla stuff, and then of course finding out that Gamera had like a whole new trilogy, I was like, what the fuck have I been doing for the last 20 years?
Yeah.
So finally, the great thing about stuff like Tubi is you're able to kind of catch up on stuff like this, which is great. And I was really impressed. I think the Heisei trilogy really knocked it out of the park. In fact, when it came to that versus what they did with the Godzilla stuff, I actually enjoyed Gamera's version of the Heisei stuff much better. And I think part of that is because, again, they give the villains of Gamera just a far creepier and darker overall vibe. Whereas with the Godzilla stuff, they try to keep it a little bit more lighthearted. It's more driven, just, of course they made Godzilla darker then, but I don't know, it just seems like Gamera, that Heisei series, was just stronger writing throughout the consistency of those films as opposed to the Godzilla stuff. Now obviously earlier in the years he looked a little more like this, kind of goofy looking, but again still very much creepy, and they had a way of like making their eyes glow, which was interesting. Him and I think Gurion does it and stuff like that. So that's also an added effect that I like that they did with their props and their creature designs. What did you think about the designs early on as opposed to the Heisei stuff?
I enjoyed them. I think all the monsters, they all had that little design where they all can have like the glowing eyes. I believe Virus had that as well. I know Jiger had that as well. Gurren did. It's funny. I think that Virus, actually, in his more human-sized form, is actually more creepier than his gigantic form. But because he actually had the human-sized minions with him. And then there was the scene where he had to actually fuse them into him so he can actually grow to fight Gamera. He actually chopped all their heads off in one clean swipe. I thought that was actually really cool. But he had like the glowing, menacing eyes. But also with Gyaos, when he would feed, his head would actually glow green as well. And it's almost like it would actually glow the same color as the night sky as well. So they're very color conscious with Gyaos, with the filming of the movie as well. And the way how they made the blood look as well, with the eyes and everything, is just, and Daiei was firing all cylinders with those earlier films as well. I mean, they were with the Heisei films, but those earlier films. Also, let's not forget about the first sequel that they did as well with Barugan, which, not gonna lie, that is my actual favorite of the show of films. But Gamera vs. Gyaos is the more favorable of the films for the people, and actually set the trend for the Gamera films as well. The child star, and moving on to the other film, and also kind of like a certain thing that they have to do to move along, the human drama with Gamera as well. So, but Gyaos, like I said before, he's like the Ghidorah of the Gamera franchise as well, and also makes an appearance in other films as well. One other film in a very strange manner. Mind if I talk about that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Where he appears briefly in the film Gamera versus Gurion, where they go to a faraway planet, and we have a space Gyaos, where they paint him all silver and give him purple blood, and they have him briefly battle the monster of the movie, Gurion, and he gets chopped up into little steak pieces, and that's that. Yeah. Where he's actually shown off to be like this unstoppable force in this first film, which he gets cut up in certain pieces, and actually he actually begins to regrow, actually kind of make you think that, oh no, if more pieces of him breaks off, he could actually grow into multiple pieces, which in a future film, like they actually have the multiple eggs as well, which if he keeps growing and these eggs keep on growing, they actually envelop the earth. Well, if they keep on hurting him and pieces of him break off, then they can actually go on multiplying, as we were talking. So a very sinister monster, this Gyaos, and also as a attack beam as well, which is kind of like Ghidorah as well. a razor sharp beam that comes out and cuts things. There's cool stuff as well. So yeah.
Yeah, agreed. The also thing is like with the Heisei stuff, initially when it was introduced in those films, they had it tied into the ancient Atlanteans, and so I kind of found that interesting because obviously in the Godzilla universe, Megalon is part of the Cetopians, and so like I often wonder like if they would again some sort of combine Dao and Toho to kind of like converge those two as far as villains for Godzilla or Gamera. Again, like that, the door is so wide open for them to open it because they are so close in their thinking, but yet they're so far away because they don't want to really give or take with one another to allow those creatures to coexist in the same sphere, unfortunately. But it's so amazing. And even when they did like Gamma Rebirth, I thought the look was very cool of Gyaos in that, even though it looks a bit more like a prehistoric bird here than or maybe even a dragon of sorts compared to what it normally would look like. As far as like its attack and abilities, I think that's another thing that's kind of like evolved a little bit over time between the early days and Heisei, where initially that laser beam that came out of its mouth that's very strong and generally cuts up Gamera pretty good, but then it started to get other kind of a weaponry as it went on. How did you like that evolution of Gyaos in your mind?
I enjoyed it, and I like the practicality they showed in the film Gamera Guardian the Universe, where they had the three the hatchlings, and they're like, "Oh, we finally caught them," and it's like, "Oh, we've got them pinned down." It's like, "Oh, well, they're babies, so they got them," and now here comes Gamera looming over. He's gonna get them now. It's like, wait, we're only halfway through the film. Like, what's gonna happen? Well, they start to focus their beam, their mouths, and then they start to actually look like they're roaring, but they're not. And they focus their screech and their roar, and it turns into the first like evolution of the beam, and it comes out and actually cut through the metal bars that's in the cages, and then they escape. It's like, oh, that's awesome. And then you actually look at the actual smoothness of the actual metal bars as well to see how clean the cut is as well. So you can see how dangerous it is of how monstrous these monsters can be. And then later in the film, they don't need to focus it as much. They actually have so much control over it. It just comes straight out then. So to see the evolution of it, just awesome. I just like how it shows the slowness to the build up and then the payoff. Because they actually show that with a few previous Godzilla films as well. In the original film, he like slowly starts beating the atomicness in his dorsal plates, and it just comes out to the point where it just shoots out then. Gamera, in the earlier Showa films, like it was more like a flamethrower effect they had for his breath when it would just come straight out. Where actually in the Heisei era, they actually had him breathe up and then shoot fireballs out, and then at one point he actually had this one mega blast come out in Guardian of the Universe. But then in Legion and others, he had like this massive atomic breath. So lots of fun stuff, all great stuff.
Yeah, and Gas, he has like a few different things, like the wind gust he can do with his wings, or kind of like almost Rodan-like in terms of the speed that he can fly in the air and stuff like that. But I guess also, and I've never really read the Dark comics or anything, but in those they give him like the energy blast or the fire breath that you mentioned, which I think is very interesting. You mentioned also the regenerative aspects of what it can do in some of the shower hour stuff. I guess he also has a fog type of weaponry that he can do, which is kind of cool. What would you like to see if they re-envisioned him for a future film? What would you like to see? Would you like it just to kind of remain where he's at, or would you like to add something else to his ability list?
I don't know if I really add anything to it. I think they've kind of broke the mold with Gyaos. I enjoy him the way he is. No, because they made the kind of the goofier yet serious version of him in the show era. They had the really serious version of him in both the Heisei and the anime version.
Yeah, see,
I
I
like the
like
way
this like concept version, which looks pretty cool. And there's
that's
like
very
these kind of like
Geiger-ish.
spikes and stuff going on here, which is kind of cool.
It's very
Um,
H.R. Giger-ish there.
yes, I was gonna say, but it's almost like also he's got like the spikes on the back, which is almost like an armor type of thing. So it'd be kind of interesting if they, souped him up a little bit, withstand a little bit more of the attack from like either Godzilla or Gamera. Should that ever happen between those two again.
Okay, all right. I see what you're saying there. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'll leave that to you
Now,
then. But, yeah, I can't get out of my own. I can't get out of my own way. I like it the way it is, but yeah, I'll leave that to you. I like that. Yeah, I even think of like adding something like that to it. Okay, I got
yeah, I
you.
don't think you would really have to change too much because obviously you don't want him to become like so formidable that Gamera couldn't take him out because Gamera has been getting evolving a little bit too, but sometimes one thing I think is always kind of sort of I don't want to say it turned me off from Gamera so much, but when you look at Godzilla, you can kind of see that it makes sense how he looks, how he fights, what he can do. With Gamera, watching a turtle flying in the air with fireballs, it's just not something I've ever really gotten used to. I've accepted it because it's just who Gamera is, but I don't know if they've ever really given an explanation of how he achieved that as a creature.
Uh, I can tell you.
Good, because I don't think I've ever heard.
He was created that way.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. The Atlanteans created him that way to guard the as to be the protector, and he was actually designed that way. And yeah, and he actually defends the Earth and not the people on Earth. So yeah, he
Yeah.
was actually designed that way. Yes, they made him that way on purpose. So yeah,
Gotcha. See, I
yeah.
really never knew like his origins. So obviously, the first movie he's just trapped in ice, and so I really didn't think much beyond that. So that's good to know because obviously, so were the Atlanteans really? I mean, were they were responsible for Gyaos at some point too for this Heisei stuff, but I guess Jiger and some of the other ones were just alien born. I guess is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, he dealt with a lot of aliens. The new alien of the month, pretty much. A lot of aliens,
Yeah.
but then in the Showa era, the Heisei era, they had a couple of Earth bait. Though I forget what Iris is. I haven't watched Iris in a long time. I can't remember. That was like a deity from like I can't remember. If it's like another dimension. I can't remember. And it was a cave dwelling kaiju. I can't remember. If you could fill in the gap for there.
Yeah, I think she was kind of like a alien species of sorts.
But yeah, and then I know Legion. It's gonna. So he always dealt with because he is a guardian of the universe. So he's always dealing with things from all over. But I remember Gyaos is like an Earth-based creature. So because he's from Atlantis as well. So yeah. So they need to like. Aquaman is really dropping the ball here. What's he doing here? Okay, he keeps on letting all this crap go on. What's he doing? I'm playing her. What are you doing, my boy? Knock it off. That's why you're playing Lobo now. Okay, you couldn't handle your crap.
Ah,
I'm kidding.
Now they're going to send the deep to go take care of business.
Yeah, the creep.
He makes them up to octopuses.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Oh. Yeah, watch the new season of The Boys. 2 episodes on Amazon Prime. We're not being paid at all.
No ads here.
Yeah, no ads there. I mean, if they want, if y'all want to throw me some money, that's cool.
That's true. We'll take any donations.
Throw us some money.
You can tell we put a lot of work into this.
Yeah. This light system didn't pay for itself. I paid how much did I pay for that? We're getting off topic here. We're talking about bats with wings in here. Come on.
Yeah, bats,
Yeah.
batsies.
I'm sorry that it's a bird. It's a bird. They made sure to tell
It's a
us it's a bird in the
plane.
movie. So okay.
It's Superman. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So going forward, if Daiei were to put out another Gamera film and Gyaos would
Please
be in it,
do. Please do, Daiei. Get off your asses and do another Gamera movie.
yeah,
Please.
it's
If you
like they
make
don't
it,
even.
we will watch it.
It's not like they have that much on their plate as it is. Like, come on now.
No, seriously. Like, come on now. Remember that fan
What would you
movie? Or
like to
that
see?
fan movie they did all those in 2016? Boy, did we get
Yeah,
scammed.
actually, it was. Yeah, I was just found out the other day they did like a horror film that Tony and I were going to watch together, which I was kind of surprised. I was like, wow, okay, they're in this genre too. That kind of makes some sense though, considering what they've done with some of the creatures from the Gamera universe.
Mm-hmm.
But if they go and do another film,
Mm-hmm.
what would you like to kind of see as far as a story or plot design for Gauss in that one?
Well, for Gauss, kind of go back to the roots of Gauss kind of being like a blood drinker again, but also keeping like elements from the Heisei era, being like a massive, like a, carnivore, like very carnivorous, because that was something I really liked from the Heisei era. When he was feeding on just whatever from like the countryside. Like there was a scene where he actually had like a full horse in his mouth, just doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Just stalking and like haunting people like in the mountainside as well. Gamera, just being up against the ropes against him, but then again, holding his own at parts as well. More of like a big back and forth between the two, but also giving Gauss more of like an upper hand at points. The scene where Gauss was laying eggs, getting ready for the takeover again. I want that kind of implied. I don't really want to give if they're going to do that again, where Gauss is laying eggs to procreate, and start takeover. Leave that off screen, or if they are going to do that, trim it down, because that was a good 6 or 7 minute runtime of the movie. That was because like where he's like on it was Tokyo Tower, I think it was. My mind is shit nowadays. And I think where he's like actually just perched up there waiting. I kind of built up anticipation for Gamera to return and to actually start their aerial battle, but it's like, okay, let's move it along. Let's move along, move along. I want to like kind of trim that down if they're gonna do a scene where like Gauss is gonna like lay the eggs and get ready to like start his takeover again. Also, keep down to just one Gauss. I don't need to see 3 again. We've seen the 3. And if we're going to like kind of like sequel beg, then I don't want that to sound bad. Okay, obviously I want a sequel idea because it's Gamera. I want another franchise. I want another series. Okay, do another series. That kind of like goes into like an idea of more. Bring back all the heavy hitters. I want to see Jiger. I want to see Virus. I want to see them all, except for Gamera the Super Monster. Don't ever do that movie again. Okay, where he fights a freaking Star Destroyer from Star Wars. Don't you ever do that. Okay, Daiei. No, don't do that crap again. Anyway, I want another Baragon. Yeah, bring back Baragon as well. Okay, seriously. Okay, I want another Baragon. Anyway, enough. Anyway, where was I? Anyway, yes, but like the scene in Gamera versus Iris, where we had that legion of Gauss flying through the sky, the night sky. Yeah. Let's do that again and have a payoff to it in like a future film, like the sequel, where Gamera's fighting all those Gauss then. I mean, technically you can say like in Gamera the Brave, like technically we got a payoff to that because when the Elder Gamera was fighting and then he like self-destructed and then he destroyed all those Gauss. Like, oh, we got to pay off to that. Like, no. I want an actual movie where we actually have Gamera fight all those Gauss. Okay, we do like Gamera versus Gauss 2, where he fights like all those. Right? I know we can shop around for a better title than that. I'm just spitballing ideas right now. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I'd like to see. The first film, Gamera is fighting one main badass Gauss. The second film, we introduce a flock of like badass Gausses and maybe like a medium-sized Gauss. Again, we can shop around for a better name for it. and like kind of start to introduce another monster. Not Baragon. I think we can do Baragon later, kind of like introduce maybe like Euron or maybe Virus, because maybe like Virus is like up in space and like he sees like all the crap going on Earth. He's like, oh, I could take over this Earth now, and starts to like descend or something. And then we do something like that. Just ideas. And then, yeah, but that's my idea.
Yeah, I like that actually. At first, I was going to go against you with just a single Gyaos thing, but I think you actually make a really good point. The only reason why I would say that, like, I do like your idea of having multiple Gyaos in a second film, because to me, I think that's one of the things I kind of like about Gyaos and the way that they kind of portray him is that in some ways, he's almost parasitic. It's almost like he can spread and reproduce asexually. And so it's easier for him to draw a number. So if you remember like Godzilla versus Megaguirus, you know, he's kind of dealing with multiple foes that can reproduce really fast and rapidly. So I kind of like the idea that, you know, Gamera would face one like big mama Gyaos or whatever in the first film. And then that you get that scene you're talking about at the end where many of them are flying. They're smaller, but they're flying. And then somehow Gamera's got to kind of deal with that before dealing with the next monster in line, which could be whatever. So I like that. But I always like the idea that, you know, Gyaos is kind of like one of those creatures that can probably be more dangerous when they're in numbers, you know, when they can just reproduce so fast and, you know, as you said, they're very meat eaters. They'll attack humans. And I think that's one thing I've always kind of liked about that. Again, like you brought up, they're not afraid to go where these creatures are a real harm to humans, not just through destruction of the planet, but through actual feeding. And I remember even the War of the Gargantuans, you know, the green one that's eating people. I'm just like, I don't really see that often. That's cool shit. Even like the earlier Kong film, they have that happening. I thought that was great. And so they kind of got away from that. Huh?
And Rodan as well. They got people getting killed all the time in that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like those ideas that, you know, you make them more fearsome than they are. Because like, in the Heisei series, just watching Gyaos like eat people is a crazy thing to see, but fun, you know. All right. Well, overall, what would you think is going to be Gyaos's legacy going forward as a kaiju? Do you think it's always going to be remembered in the Gamera universe, or do you think maybe due to Dio kind of sitting on their thumbs that it's going to be forgotten?
Oh, you can't disregard Gyaos. Gyaos is always going to be loved. He's always going to be remembered. They're still releasing merch to this day. X Plus is doing it. Anyone can get their hands on merch for Gamera. They're always releasing Gyaos related merch. They just released a new X Plus Gyaos, Super Gyaos, actually. That's his official name from Gamera Guardian Universe when he becomes an adult, or should I say it? They don't really talk about gender or anything, but Super Gyaos. They just released that, and unfortunately, I had to skip on it for now. But anyway, they just released that. So anyway, you know, they're always going for Gyaos. Okay, Gyaos will always be loved. They not too long ago they did a Gyaos from the original film as well. I forget what the Rick Boy edition was for that, but so Gyaos will always be highly regarded. Dai, they can sit on their thumbs all they desire. I think it's a missed opportunity. However, like with the anime, they had Gyaos in that as well, and there's still fan art being drawn up. They actually have this one fan art of Godzilla 2014 fighting a flock of Gyaos, which I thought was a fun little idea. Hint, hint, Dai, you know, play ball, and others will play ball with you. All right. I'm being very nice, Dai. I'm giving ideas. Okay. Don't get mad. Okay. You want money. This is how you get money. Don't sit on your properties and do nothing with them. Okay.
That's probably the shocking thing that I see the most is, you know, with everything that's going on between Legendary and Toho right now and everything they're doing, it's like, why would Dai not take advantage of the kaiju craziness that's going on right now and just get in on it? Like, I'm just surprised.
And it's like, yeah, I heard that that the Gamera anime didn't do so well on Netflix. It's like, okay, it's Netflix. Yeah, it's the easiest thing for people to say, I'll watch it later. I'll watch it later. I'll watch it. And eventually later becomes too late, and then you're like, nobody watched it. Well, yeah, because people are still, everybody's busy nowadays. Okay. We all have jobs. We all have crap to do. We watch crap later. That's it. Everybody's later. It ends up becoming years later. So yeah, and eventually people end up watching things and they become cult. That's how things become cult classics because we watch them later. Okay, that's why I hate about people saying that just watch them later. Well, not I don't because I watch things later. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of guilty of it as well. But it's like when people want to like look at numbers and look at how things are looked at, like returns for things like on like Netflix or Amazon Prime, like, oh, they didn't do well in the first 30 days. It's a failure. It's like, no, you got to look at it years from now. So it's like,
Yeah.
I bet if they look at the numbers for it now compared to when it first came out, I bet the numbers are a lot better than what they were. Seriously, Dai, go back and what? Oh god, it sounds like I'm beating up Dai right now. I'm
Well,
on your
but it
side,
makes
guy.
sense because for me, Dai has really like two options. Of course, now it's starting to really pass them by, but they could either do what Toho did with -1 and find a good story writer, write a brand new Gamera film on a low budget, and hope that it does as well as -1, which was a surprise for everybody. And then, or they can go and say, hey, let's get with America, let's get with Legendary and see if we can create a different universe for Gamera and let's see what they can do. And then maybe if that kicks off, you can almost cross over from there. Like the opportunities are all there. Like you said, it's surprising that they're not thinking about money. Like money is right there to be had right now because of all the success of Legendary and Toho. So I'm just really shocked that they're not jumping on this bandwagon.
Also, if I may, you got to look at the track record of other animes that have come out that are kaiju related. We had the Polygon trilogy for Godzilla. Not a lot of people liked that. We had Singular Point for Godzilla come out as well. Not a lot of people like that as well. So the well is kind of tainted a little bit when it comes to the anime or like the CG anime, trend for kaiju related stuff. Let's ignore that. Do a live action film. If you don't want to do a live action or do a live action film, but nobody's doing suitmation anymore. Make the monsters, make the kaiju, do those in CG. Okay, it sucks you got to do that nowadays, but no one's doing it anymore. But like, if you want to do some practical, cool. But like, do that in CG because they can't even be angry about it because Gamera started to do CG in the Heisei era. So I mean, kind of they didn't really had kind of CG, but anyway, they can do that stuff, but they can hire actors. There's plenty of great actors. Godzilla -1 is a perfect example of outstanding actors in Japan right now. They could be in a Gamera film because they're just in -1. Outstanding actors, because a lot of people, myself included, said if you take Godzilla out of Godzilla -1 and you just watch Godzilla -1 and you just call it -1, the human drama in that film is amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Godzilla is amazing in the film. Godzilla is amazing in that film as well. But still, if you take Godzilla out of that movie and just watch it for the humans, the movie's amazing.
Yeah.
So if you take Gamera and put it in a film, don't call it Gamera -1, of course, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
If you do a film like that with all those amazing actors, you get an amazing writer, money.
Yeah.
Great story.
Yep.
You're welcome,
yeah, that's
Diane.
really kind of the only thing I think that held -1 back from getting more Oscars was people, or at least the voters, probably just thought, oh, it's a Godzilla film, but it was deeper than that, way deeper than that. And so, but it works for the rest of the people. Everyone else, it's like you said, despite most of us who were aware of -1 at the time that it got released, I've been seeing people react to the movie who weren't Godzilla fans, and they were crying and loving the story and everything else. So they're like, I never knew a Godzilla film could be like this. It's like, yeah, it's really a brilliant piece of writing, and it's just amazing. And so, again, Daiei, man, we actually want you to do this. We're not bashing you. We want you to do these things because we care about Gamera. We care about that monster verse of what he belongs in. And again, I've said it before, back in the day when Godzilla met King Kong, that was a big deal, really big deal between two big monsters. If for whatever reason, if Toho can convince Daiei to do that third film in the -1 trilogy, if I know they're probably going to do another one, just bring Gamera, man. That would be like the biggest freaking movie in years in that whole Kaiju universe. Like, that's what everyone's been waiting for.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me again, sir. That has been fun. Load of blasts to talk about. Do you have anything you're going to be doing anytime soon on your channel, or?
I can't think of anything.
And no unboxings, no gaming?
No.
Just chilling, huh? That's all right.
We'll I'm just kind of collaborating. Again. Just collaborating with others.
Well, that's good. I'll definitely have to get you on another Vintage Cult Cinema soon. I don't know what we're going to pick yet, but we'll figure it out. As for me, no Ghouls at Midnight tonight. Tony and I are going to move those to Saturdays for the time being, just because he's got his kids doing baseball and stuff right now. So it's kind of a pain in the ass for him to try to rush around with that. But that'll work out, be fine. We'll do that around 5 or so p.m. on Saturday and get those up. But for the rest of you, let us know what you feel about this particular kaiju in the comments section. Anything we missed or any ideas that you have that you would like to see for this particular creature going forward. And put the pressure on Daiei. Just keep putting the pressure on him. Tell him to get moving.
Put the thumb right on it. Put the thumb right on it. And, now, if I may, before we go, what we're saying to Daiei, we're not picking on them. We're saying out of love, we're saying out of respect, and out of wanting the franchise to grow and to be awesome, because we love Gamera. Yep. We love all the monsters in the Gamera franchise, and we want it to, just be awesome with Godzilla, because we love the kaiju, we love all of that stuff, and we just want it to be, just awesome. Where is it? There you go. Yeah. Gamera. We love Gamera as well. Okay, come on. So,
I know where mine is. I hit him somewhere.
So, yeah.
I think mine flew away, I think. But anyway.
Well, you can fly. So, but yeah, we just love Gamera, and we're just passionate monster nerds. So, yeah, it's all out of love that we're saying it.
Yeah,
I really like
things behind me and all those things behind Gojira, like that's passion, my friends.
Yeah.
That's passion.
Yeah.
We just want to see more of it, man. We want to see, companies like Daiei succeed and do more with their creatures. I mean, even if they don't tag up with Toho, it'd still be nice to see some more films. I mean, when was the last one? Like 2010, maybe?
I don't know. When did Rebirth come out? Oh, no, wait, no, the next
animation. I don't always really consider that true stuff in the sense that, like, I like the live action more, but Rebirth was really good. I mean, even if they continued that would be fun. But I would still love to see another live action come out, and just get more, like you said, get the writing they did for like -1. There's probably great stories out there you can tell that you can add in a kaiju with, and it'd be nice to see that from Daiei. And damaging too, more damaging. It's been too long for them. So for that creature, so we need to do that too.
There you go.
All right, everyone. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the channel. Like and subscribe to Gojira851. And we appreciate all your support, and thank you very much. We will see you next time on the Metal Tavern Radio podcast.
Take it easy.